Two people, equally qualified, equally hardworking, but one of them only gets promoted. Why? It comes down to these hidden signals that executives pick up on when they're deciding who is promotion ready. And these signals you don't even realize you're sending. Now, in the last video, I analyzed 100 promotions and talked about signals that get people promoted. In this video, I'm going to talk about the signals that block promotion. Let's dive in. Hidden signal number 1, over-identifying with your role. Now, everybody has a job description, and there was a posting, you reviewed it, you had rounds of interview, you got accepted, and now here you are, years later. And now, if you look at the things you're responsible for right now, it's going to look quite different, or sometimes entirely different from the original job description that you applied for when you first got this position. And this is the thing that I see very often in my executive coaching mentorship, is I have clients who have been in their roles for a long time and they were successful. And then when they really reflected upon it, they say very often to me, I'm overdue for promotion. I've been in this role for 5 years, sometimes 7 years. I even heard 12 years in this role, and I'm overdue for promotion. And then I work with them and I ask them, okay, show me, articulate to me, or write them down. What are all the things they're responsible for? And that's no problem. They send me that list. And then I ask them, do you remember when you originally applied for this role? What did that look like? And some of them are able to dig up the original job posting because they had a copy somewhere. And then side-by-side comparison, it's entirely changed. And when a company is growing really quickly, your job description starts changing within the first month. And here's what happens. You don't even realize it. And definitely if you don't realize it, your manager and your skip limit managers won't realize it either, because your managers aren't going to know what you're involved in day to day. So if you don't have a system at articulating your responsibilities and articulating how your role has changed, then you're going to be passed over promotion, and you're going to find yourself defending your position, kind of like defending a PhD dissertation, right? Defending why you deserve a promotion. But when all they see is, well, you did what was expected, you did what was required. And if you really look at it objectively, over the years, and maybe sometimes decades, the way your role has transformed, it already resulted in a promotion. But nobody knew, and nobody would grant it because they don't know what's been going on, and sometimes you don't even realize what's going on. So this is what I mean by over-identifying to your role too much. Then sometimes it's like skipped over. It should have resulted in a title change, a pay change, a couple of job levels change, but it didn't, because there was no system to bring that, to measure that, to articulate that, and definitely no system to track that, right? So that's the first hidden signal, is over-reliance on the role. Hidden signal number 2, this one is very counterintuitive. This signal is communicating as an expert. Now you might think, what? I thought that was a positive thing, to talk like an expert, to be the expert, to be the subject matter expert. And yeah, it is a good thing. It probably got you where you are right now in terms of the growth, in terms of the job level, it got you right now. But if you're noticing that as an expert, you're still not moving to the next job level where you can be, well, that's the feedback from life and the marketplace around you, tapping you on your shoulders, telling you that, okay, you got to change your mindset. You have to change your approach. Communicating as an expert is one of the most overlooked signals that blocks promotions. Because here's the thing, if you're communicating as an expert, what you're saying, you're signaling that I'm a specialized expert in this domain. And what you're actually saying is, as a result of being so specialized, I'm needed here, which is different from saying, I have what it takes to get to the next level. I'm an executive that's needed in the next level. That's different from saying I'm a specialist. And one of the things about communicating as an expert, if you're the expert and you know you're the expert, and maybe your peers and your managers know you're the expert, it's very common. I see this a lot in my mentorship as well, where you're more likely to give a lot of details when you share your thoughts and when you share your expertise. You're more likely to drown your audience in details. And here's the thing about that. Now, it's a psychology, a hidden psychology. And I say this to my clients as well, is the moment you share so much about what you know, what you're actually doing is you're trying to use your knowledge to validate your value, to validate your proposition. But haven't you ever noticed that senior leaders up a few job levels from you, it's not that they know the most. In fact, There's a lot they don't know, and they surround themselves and they manage and lead people who know more, who know the stuff. So if you're the person who knows the stuff, then you're going to be led and be managed because you're communicating as an expert. So what I say is realize that being an expert in the domain is not a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, well, how are you communicating that expertise? And you're going to notice that leaders don't use their knowledge to validate their value. They know how to position and how to articulate their value. And they also know how to influence their perceived value. So that's the second hidden secret is communicating as an expert. Hidden signal number 3 is low gravity of executive presence. Now think about gravity in physics. Gravity is the force that brings two masses together. The greater the mass, the stronger the pull of gravity. That's physics. So weight is how that gravity is experienced out in the real world. So if you have high gravity, it carries weight. People with high gravity executive presence carry weight in an organization because their presence has weight. Now, weight is your authority, it's your clout, it's your confidence, it's your credibility. That is your gravity. The higher the gravity, the more weight of the experience. And that's why the individuals with high gravity executive presence, their words carry weight because people perceive what they say as having credibility and having authority. It's just like planets in a solar system that revolve around the sun. Leaders who have a high gravity executive presence have team members that orbit around them. So that's why high gravity executive presence individuals, they are able to attract team members that are aligned and committed because they carry weight as a leader. Now, the opposite is also true. People with a low gravity executive presence, they may have knowledge, they may have the expertise, but teams don't orbit around them. Their presence doesn't pull others in. They're like small asteroids that float away because they have weak gravitational fields. In meetings, their ideas might float away unnoticed because they don't carry the weight of a confident authority. And that's why individuals with low gravity executive presence don't often get promoted, and that's because they don't carry the weight of leadership. Hidden secret number 4 is the lack of a durable professional brand. Durable means lasting a long time. So here's the thing, even if you are qualified, even if you have expertise, it doesn't mean that you are top of mind when decisions are being made. So let me explain what I mean by top of mind. Top of mind means that your name comes up. Why? Because you have mind share. You have captured mind share in the minds of the decision makers. When you have that, then you remain top of mind. And this is important because, as you know, promotional decisions are made about you when you're not in the room. When the candidates are not in the room, that's where the promotional decisions are made. And there's something called availability bias, where leaders tend to recall the names that they remember first, right? Whoever name is top of mind, they remember it, they recall it, it's available because mindshare makes the name available, then there is a bias towards those candidates. And if your name is not on the list and someone else's is, then they're more likely to be promoted for that opportunity or for that next level before you because they've done a good job at building a durable professional brand and captured mindshare with it. And that's why the personal brand you build is either going to give you the mindshare and therefore make you top of mind, or it isn't. But the fact is you already have a personal brand. You either built it intentionally or it just got built by default without your intention, in which case you have a personal brand and it may not be what you'd like it to be. So this is really important. Are you intentionally building a personal brand? Is it durable? Are you spending your time and intellect, or at least part of it, on building personal brand assets that work without you, even when you're not in the room? This is how individuals with, back to the other point, with high gravity executive presence, when you combine this with a durable personal brand, this is how leaders get magnetized. They get attracted those opportunities without them chasing it, without them needing to be chasing it, without using politics, without faking it until they make it. This is an organic process. So the decision is yours with respect to your personal brand. You have one. Whether you like it or not, whether you realize or not, you have one. The question is, are they assets that are going to get you where you want to be? Or are they, by default, conversations that are going to keep you where you are today? The choice is yours. Hidden signal number 5 is being busy at the expense of visibility. Now, I have been coaching thousands of professionals, some of whom are very qualified to be executives, some of whom are executives, but they want to get to the next job level. And one of the most common feedback that I get from my clients is, I work really hard, I put in the hours, and I still feel like I'm not getting the impact that I want. And here's the thing, I tell them, and I'm going to tell you right now, be careful, don't mistake effort and hard work with impact. It's not the same thing. Because impact is a spiritual outcome at high level. It's at the visionary level. It's expansive. But working hard and putting in the hours is in physical labor. Now, when I say physical labor, I don't mean you're picking up a shovel and digging ditches. It's not that type of physical labor, but it is a form of physical labor which requires the skill of your hand or the skill of putting in time. Now, and this is really important to realize that, because most effort I see in highly qualified individuals, most effort is put into running the business or running projects. And all of this effort in running things happens behind the scenes. So you see, the lesson you got to learn here is that there's a trade-off between effort and visibility. Which one are you going to work on? There's a trade-off. Now, it's important to understand the threshold of that trade-off, because let's face it, there's always going to be more work to do. Always. And everybody's busy in an organization, especially because the marketplace is always moving and there are always competitive forces. There's always crises in the pipeline. And that's why there's always going to be a lot of work to do. But the question is, are you focusing on the right things? Are you focusing on the things that help you with your visibility? Or are you focusing on the things that keep you running behind the scenes? And the things that you're focusing on, are they going to lead to the outcomes you truly desire for your career growth? Because if you're telling me that you're happy where you are and you don't want to get to the next level, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are listening to this because you do desire to get to the next level, your next level, and you're wondering why that hasn't happened, then these reflection questions are very important. So busyness at the cost of visibility, there's always a trade-off. Which side are you on in the trade-off? If you're listening to this and you're the kind of individual who has clear goals and you'd like to get to the next level of your career because you've worked hard to develop your expertise and you know you can be thriving at that next level, then I invite you to click the link below. And when you do, you're going to see a variety of different options where you can work with me and my entire coaching team together. And what we're going to do is that we're going to provide you with the training that you need hands-on. We're going to provide you with the right templates, the coaching, the mentorship in order to guide you to develop each of these signals. And we're going to work with you to understand which of these signals is the one big domino that will move the needle on all the rest of them. Sometimes there's that big needle. We're going to coach you to understand which one that is. And when you look at the options after clicking that link, there's going to be different ways that you can work with me, all the way from very hands-off, being self-paced, to working very closely with me, to a lot of content. It's up to you. Choose which option works best for you in terms of your style and your preferences. And whichever you do choose, I look forward to working with you on the inside.